can you please put a yes in the chat box so that we can start, inshallah? We have a lot of people registered, but I always start on time. Assalamu alaikum. If you guys can hear me, if you can please put a yes so we can start. I'm going to record the session for people who are not here, but I'm just going to start quickly. So the class today we are having is extremely important. It's called Tax Benefits You Are Missing Out Now. There's a disclaimer for the class. The disclaimer for the class is that I'm a physician, I'm not an accountant. And the reason why I give this disclaimer is that throughout my journey, with my personal investments, learning how to do all of this in the past decades, a lot of people come to me and they assume that I do my own taxes. I do not. I hire a tax professional. But just because I hire somebody, that doesn't, discount me, or I should not be knowing what is happening in my taxes. And so today's tax class are honestly foundations that I have learned that have changed my life. They are applicable to everyone. The US tax code is extensive, and this is exactly why I will never do my taxes. Having said that, I have learned how to read my tax statement so that I know, if I'm working with an accountant, how capable that person is. And also, we should be aware of what is beneficial to us. Sometimes there is a difference between a tax preparation specialist and somebody who's a tax strategist. And so once you are progressing with your career, having a tax specialist who understands that you're trying to build wealth, you're trying to save money, you're not trying to evade taxes, but if there is a tax benefit or a discount or a deduction that they know about, they should know about it. Somebody's saying they cannot hear me. Is that just for one person or is that for everyone? Okay, I'm not sure, Saida. Give me just a second. Okay, so let's just continue. Okay, so I always start with the istiada, and my intention is always rooted in Surat Asr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that people are in loss except for people who are continuously guiding people to the right path and asking them to persevere, basically guiding them to patience. For a lot of you, I'm new. And the reason why I say this is because the tax and the financial institutions in the United States, and I think around the world, are not black and white. And so when I dealt with tax professionals and everybody, people are trying to make a quick buck, but they don't have your interest at heart. And so I always say Hazrat Musa's dua, Rabbi shahri sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli, just to satisfy my heart that if there is something beneficial for all of you, I hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it beneficial for you and helps you act upon it, because information is not transformation until and unless you act upon it. But also to remind myself that if I make a quick buck off any of you, ultimately, if it's harmful to you, it is going to cause harm to me too. That is what Surat Asr tells us. Everybody's in harm unless we are guiding people to the right path. Okay, so let's start. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Let's begin. Why should you take care about taxes? Remember that I told you, why should you care about it when you hire somebody else? Because it's a powerful tool to change, honestly, your financial situation. And I've gone through all of this. There are two things that I do want to tell you. There is a difference between a tax person, a simple person that is sitting in Walmart and everywhere else, people who prepare taxes for you, and there's a difference between a person who's going to be a tax strategist for you. So the accountants that charge you more money, they go through a holistic picture of your financial situation, and they will take care in, you know, um, guiding you to how are you supposed to structure your business or employment so that you are maximally benefiting from the IRS tax code, whereas a simple tax preparer is just going to take your documents and prepare taxes for you. They do not give you any advice or anything else. So my 2 cents is to always invest in a somebody who's a tax strategist, especially if you are a high earner. If you're just starting, take our free classes, educate yourself, and once you are there, once you're progressing, once you start making some money, and once you're ready to invest, and you don't want to read all of the IRS codes, look for somebody who can do a tax strategy for you. So because they're going to guide you, how are you supposed to you know budget your income, how are you supposed to give your taxes, what deductions can you take. This is the biggest thing a tax specialist or a tax strategist is going to do, which a tax preparer is not going to tell you, is how and what kind of tax deductions can you take. Okay, and so these are two big differences that you must keep in mind. Again, is this class applicable to me? Like I said, it's timely. The tax season is starting, and you will see how beneficial it is, inshallah. So let's just go on. I have given you practical steps. Please understand this class is not all inclusive. I can obviously not, tell you of every single deduction, but I can promise you that they are going to, whatever I have taught you is going to be applicable to you regardless of you being employed, unemployed, staying at home, having a business. It's going to be transformational, because this is common knowledge amongst people who hire tax accountants, but it's unknown. And there's a lot of fear in our community regarding taxes. A lot of people don't want to pay taxes, and they don't understand that they can reduce their taxes, like with deductions, and they can actually use taxes to build wealth. I'm not even joking. There are tax deferred accounts and everything. There's so many ways people are building wealth, and they are not afraid of taxes, because the wealthiest in the United States system are businesses, and they invest all of their money. Taxes are only for employees, unfortunately. And so this is not to say that you should not be employed, but I'm going to tell you a strategy of how you can be an employee and still be a business, be registered as a business entity, so that you can save. Instead of getting a W-2, you should get a 1099, and you're going to save a lot of money, inshallah. So let's go on. The first um, tax um, strategy or tax deduction or tax code that I want to talk about is earned income tax credit for low income families. Why do I talk about it? A lot of us have our individual small businesses at home. This is something you should be aware about. If your adjusted gross income, don't be scared by the terminology. If your adjusted gross income as a single person who has a small business is less than $16,000 if you have 0 kids, and if it's less than 53,000 if you have 3 kids and if you're single, or if it's $59,000, 187 if you are joined, the federal government owes you a credit which is called EITC. This is just something to keep in mind, because especially for people who are starting off, especially for teenagers, if they are working, they're usually not making more than 16,000 so if your child is working, they are eligible for EITC. If you are working, if you fall in this category, you are eligible for EITC. This is something you should be aware of, and your tax consultant preparer should be aware of. So this is one of the biggest things which is literally applicable to everyone, because this is not just a benefit for people who are high earners. This is actually a benefit for a mediocre, middle income, um, low income families. Even teenagers can benefit from this. The second thing, oh my God, I love this because I do this myself, hiring your children for your business. So did you know that you could hire your children, and they are not going to pay any income tax, any Medicare, any social security for up to $12,000? But here's the catch. In our society and in our communities, we do not have good bookkeeping. If you get audited by the IRS that, okay, you're filing, you said that you gave your kids, because they can earn up to $12,000 per kid. Now, here's the caveat, okay? I have a small business in which I use my baby, who is literally 2 years old. I used her face and I use her, playing, because I have a small toy shop. I used her images in my social media and I paid her $1,000 and $1,500 for the whole year, because I used her picture as a logo. I used her images for my social media. This is justifiable. But if you tell the IRS, if they audit you and you tell them you paid your 5 year old and she was putting in orders or doing something that is unbelievable, you will be penalized. So please, this has to be a proper job in your business. It teaches your kids entrepreneurship, it teaches them discipline, and literally you can lower your taxable income if you have a business by honestly paying your kids up to $12,000. You can also invest another $6,000 in an IRA, which is a minor IRA, which is a topic for another time. It's actually like it's a custodial um, individual retirement account for minors. You can start putting in money. So 12,000 of their salary plus $6,000, that is also, tax deductible. You can decrease the amount of your taxes in your business by $18,000 per kid if you are able to prove that you can employ your kids. My son teaches chess. I pay him to send out my orders. I pay him to, sometimes post things on social media. He's turning 9 years old. I had to literally build him when he was 7 years old. I built him on this entrepreneurial journey just because I knew about this caveat and I wanted to capture that money and I wanted to start him his financial journey earlier. This is something big, this is something huge. So if you have like a bakery, if you have a homemade, any business, any family run business, you can hire your minor children, and as long as it is something that is justifiable. Now people come to me and they tell me, I employed my kids and they're washing my cars. Are they washing your business vehicles, or are they doing chores? You cannot legally pay your kids for chores. That's something you need to keep in mind. But this is like an excellent way to lower your taxable income. Pay your child, give them a salary, get the help that you need, discipline them, and also in the meantime put that some money into their custodial IRA that is going to grow tax free. So it's like a triple benefit for all of you. The only thing that you need to remember is that if you are a corporation, you cannot do this. So a corporation cannot pay a family member. You have to be a partnership, a spousal business. So it cannot be incorporated as a corporation. That's just a business structure. Don't be scared of the term. But if it's a family business, if it's just a partnership, if it's not incorporated in any way, there's another way to go around it. If you're a corporation, there's another way to go around it, but I'm not going to go into the details. I'm just saying that this is just a good way. You guys should know about this. And why I'm harping about this is because honestly, the reason why we save on taxes is to grow our wealth. We need to grow our wealth tax free, and these are legal things that wealthy people are doing all the time. I'm around physicians, I'm around entrepreneurs. These people are, this is how people save this money. They get these deductions, they get their taxable income down, they save all of this money, and they are also growing generational wealth. Okay, let's move ahead. Business use of home. This is another thing that people don't know. I have a dedicated space in my house. My husband also has a dedicated space in his house, which we can legally deduct from our deduct from our profits as a place that we are using for business. If you store any kind of inventory in your house, if you use any space in your house for your business, you can actually deduct the you can multiply the square footage by 5. IRS allows you only 300 square feet, but that 300 square feet multiplied by 5 is $1,500. So if your mortgage is $3,000, you can literally deduct $1,500 being used by that business space from your house and put it as a business expense. This is one of the deductions. Another thing what you can do is, if you have a particular mobile device, if you have a vehicle, if you have any kind of utilities, this is like a complicated deduction system, but having like an idea of the kind of business deductions you can do, I'm honestly building why you should, you know, instead of being a W-2 employee, I'm just building an interest around why we should be considering to be an independent contractor instead of a W-2. Because remember, all of this business use of home, all the deductions that the US tax code gives us are based on businesses. All of these benefits, all of these deductions, all of these tax credits are for businesses. So if you use a particular area of the home for storage, if you're baking, if you use your kitchen, if you're using your microwave for cooking, I mean, there are so many home-based businesses that can use this deduction and decrease their taxable income. Literally, they can deduct the utility bill, they can deduct the phone bill, they can deduct the vehicle, they can deduct mileage used. There are honestly a million deductions. I cannot even list them. But remember, these are the benefits of putting yourself as a business, as an independent contractor. Even if you are going to get an employment with somebody outside, you don't need to have a business. If you tell them that you're an independent contractor and you're going to work on a 1099, you can benefit from all of these, and you are going to save a lot of money, and I'm going to show you how. So I mean, there's like a long list. If you're a daycare facility, if you use your house for rental purposes, for example an Airbnb, if you store inventory, if there's like a garage that you're using for your business purposes, all of that is a tax deductible business expense. And this is why, remember, businesses are the richest. Business community is rich. That's why they monopolize the Congress. This is how they put, this is the reason why politicians and business people, you know, they are like this, because I mean, they get all these deductions from the Congress. So, I mean, it should make sense. Okay, now coming back to the benefits of working as an independent contractor. Like I told you, this is tax class is applicable to everyone. I am not asking you to start any business. As a physician, I myself can work as a contractor instead of being an employee. What I can do is I can form a sole proprietorship. I can tell my name is Miral Khalil LLC, whatever. You know, you can name yourself whatever. What that does for you is it literally decreases your tax bracket. You are not a W-2 employee. You can negotiate your hours. In fact, businesses like to hire 1099 contractors because they do not have to pay the social security, the health compensation. You're not entitled to any health benefits. But you know, people are scared that we're not entitled to any health benefits, we're not going to get any unemployment and everything. But you know, that's where the glass ceiling comes. If you're an independent contractor, I want you to see on the screen that if there's an employee and if there's an independent contractor, remember, an independent contractor is a business. Both of them have a gross income of $75,000. At the end of the day, the independent contractor is going to have more money in their account rather than the employee. Why? Because there is a standard deduction which goes for every person, which is $12,000. The federal tax is a lot more with the employee, because when you are an employee, your employer is paying a part of your Medicare and Social Security. You are paying half of it, they're paying half of it. When you're an independent contractor, you are paying the full amount, but half of it is refundable. So you're paying half of it, you're not paying the full amount. Also you get like it's called a 20% qualified business something it's called a 20% pass off, which means 20% of your income as an LLC or an independent contractor automatically gets deducted from your gross payment. All I'm trying to tell you is that as an independent contractor, you are going to make a lot more money than as an employee. And I highly recommend that you become a business within yourself. You don't need to hire anyone. You do not need employees. But if you're an independent contractor, you are going to be paid higher because the employer is they don't have to pay all the employee taxes, and they would much rather hire you at a higher price. And also you can work with multiple people. You're not stuck with one employer, so you have multiple source of income. You can work on Fiverr, you can work on Upwork. People are making hundreds and thousands of dollars. Let me give you an example. There was a translator that I hired for my bilingual picture book. The guy is in Pakistan. On Upwork, he has grossed more than 100,000 US dollars just translating picture books and from English to Urdu. All I'm trying to say is that he has established himself as a business. He doesn't work for anybody, he works for himself. And there is no limit to what you can earn when you work for yourself. And also the taxation is less, because remember, the IRS is going to I don't want to use the word punish, but it's going to actually reward you for being a business, because with the business there's so many expensive, there's a lot of headache, and they want to what is the word for it, they want to support businesses, they want to push the economy, because they believe that small businesses are the bloodline of the economy. They want to encourage businesses, and that's why the taxation of the businesses is much less than what is of a employee. And same as investment. So if you are an employee, that's earned income. If you're investing, that is passive income. There is no taxation on passive income, but there is heavy taxation on earned income. So just try thinking of in a new way, that if even if you're employed, maybe you can tell your employer that this year I want to be an independent contractor, and see what they do. We shouldn't be scared. We should be open to negotiating. We should be open to talking to our HR and asking them that I want to be an independent contractor. We should be reaching out to other people, because and everybody that I know has worked as an independent contractor has ended up increasing, doubling, tripling their income. So why not? A lot of my physician friends are also independent contractors. Just think about it. Why are they not W2 employees? Because it saves a lot of taxes. They don't want to be taxed as a W2 employee, because the W2 employee is paying a hell more of taxes than an independent contractor, because a lot of independent contractors, they're going to get a lot of business deductions, and once they get a lot of business deductions, their taxable income decreases. Let's go on the benefits of an S corp. What is an S corp? An S corp is just an entity like an LLC. You might have heard of an LLC, a C corp, an S corp. These are just legal entities that you form with the state. So when you start a business, if you don't file your, if you do not incorporate your business, or if you don't, you know, have articles of incorporation, you're a sole proprietor. A sole proprietor is liable to being sued. So for example, if I have a baking business, my baking business, I don't have one, I'm just assuming, my baking business is Miral's Cupcake Shop. Okay, it's not a legally registered business. It's just me, and it's my small business. God forbid if somebody is food poisoned from that business, and I don't have an LLC or any kind of limited, corporation, or any kind of insurance, they will come after my assets. This is why people form LLCs or S corps or these entities, because they don't want to be held personally liable to anything that can happen. And anything can happen in any, when you start an enterprise or a business, anything can happen. You do not want to be personally sued. And this is why people are incorporating their businesses because they want personal protection. Honestly, this is true for, small businesses. And once you start scaling your business also, it's very difficult to scale your business if you're not registered with the IRS, if you're not legally registered with the state, if you don't have legal status with the federal government. And so what is an S corp? When I first start a business, and if I file with the state that I've started my business, I will have to tell them if I'm a LLC or if I'm a C corp. Obviously, for a small business, a C corp doesn't make sense. An LLC makes sense. So all new businesses are either sole proprietorships, and when they register with the government, they become LLCs, which is a limited liability company. That's the default. You have to elect to be an S corp. How do you elect to be an S corp? Why do you elect to be an S corp? Because S corps are awesome. Why are S corps awesome? Let me show you why. A regular LLC, remember, when you register your business, it becomes a LLC. You have to file a document with the IRS. It's called Form 2553, and you have to elect to be an S corp. So the default is not LLC. The default is LLC. You have to then elect to be an S corp, or you could be a C corp, but you have to elect to be an S corp. What happens if you're not an S corp, and what happens if you are an S corp, and when should you be an S corp? Let's start with that. Because when you're an independent contractor, you're technically a business, right? You're going to be an LLC, and when you become profitable, you don't want to pay 15.3% in taxes, right? So if you don't want to pay 15.3% on, for example, if you make a profit of $100,000, and if I pay 15.3%, that is $15,000. That's a lot of money. The S corp protects you, and let's see how. So for example, Marina, I don't know who's online. Somebody has a regular LLC, and the other person has a LLC which they elected to be taxed as an S corp. Both people are making the same money. Both people have the same expenses. So the gross revenue minus the expenses is the net revenue, right? The net revenue is the one which is actually taxed. So the gross income is never taxed. You can always subtract the expenses. The expenses for both the businesses are 50,000, so the net profit is 100,000. If you are a regular LLC, the self-employment tax, like I told you, is 15.3%. You are going to end up paying $15,000. What if you elect to be S corp? And with an S corp, this is what happens. With an S corp, you can choose how much money are you going to pay to yourself as a salary, and how much money are you going to leave as, an investor money or profit. So for example, you say that out of the $100,000, you are going to pay yourself $40,000 or $50,000. You are only going to pay taxes on the income, sorry, on the salary you pay yourself. Now you're going to wonder, where's the rest of the 60,000 going to go? The rest of the $60,000 you can pocket without paying any taxes on it. And so when you are, for example, if I pay myself $40,000 because I have an S corp, I'm just going to pay 15.3% on 40,000, which is $6,000, which is, half of what I paid, literally more less than half of what I paid as a regular LLC. Now, forming an LLC comes with, some kind of business expenses, and we're going to go over which kind of businesses should form an an S corp, what are the expenses and everything. So if you see this chart, if you earn literally close to $30,000, and if you can pay yourself a salary of $15,000, which is completely doable, this is annually, this is literally below poverty line, you are still going to end up saving $251. Why did I show you this chart? Is because if you earn $10,000 or below, the money going into maintaining the LLC status, filing the business taxes, the articles of incorporation, all the fees that you're going to pay are not going to make it worth it for you to file, change your LLC into an S corp. But if you are making 30,000 and more, you should start looking into filing, electing your corporation as an LLC. Even if you make more than $30,000 as an independent contractor, um, you're going to save a lot of money. I mean, just look at it. 40,000, you're saving 800, 50,000, 1,400. Now people say this is not life changing money. This is not life changing money. That's the fact of the matter. But look at the person who's making 300,000. Remember, I told you there are physicians that I know, they're making 300 to $350,000 working as an independent contractor. Look at the amount they're saving. Now $20,000 is not gonna, make you, it's not, again, it's not a lot of money, but I mean, it's still a lot of money that you're not gonna pay in taxes. So I mean, think about it. Think about the benefit of being an independent contractor, and then think about the potential of earning more money because you're not tied to one business. Then think about the benefit of when you're earning more money, you can actually elect to be taxed as an S Corp and save all of this money because of the way that S Corps are set up. And so remember, if you want to be an S Corp, if you're a small business, you have to file or you have to elect to be taxed as an S Corp before the 15th of March every single year if you don't want to miss a whole tax year. That's one of the things. The other thing is that bookkeeping, payroll, and filing with an accountant is important when you elect to be an S Corp because it's more complicated, you're sophisticated, you're not a sole proprietorship anymore. So if you have a business that you want to scale, if you're employed and you want to make more money, if you are, even if you have a teenager, remember I showed you the first chart, who don't make a lot of money but they are making something, they are eligible for earned income tax credit. If you start, if you have kids that you can, legitimately involve in your business, they could mow lawns, anything that they can do, they can start saving money. This is something for you to see. uh, if you use your home for your business, this is a tax deduction, but this is only going to be a deduction. It's not a deduction, remember, if you're an employee. If you're an employee and you work from home, it is not a deduction. It is only a deduction for businesses that are using the space. So, I mean, do you see the difference? You're still technically working, but it is not a deduction if you're not a business. Hence, proving my point that the IRS is rewards businesses. Um, as I told you, an independent contractor earns way more money than an employee. There are huge benefits of an S Corp. You should literally consider it if you're making more than $30,000. So the step is, first, talk to your HR if you're employed. They are more than happy to hire you as a 1099. We have travel nurses which earn more money than our regular nurses. Why? Because they're independent contractors and they have negotiating power. So don't be scared. You can never increase your money or your income without taking the first steps of education and then trying to negotiate. And now you have the power to negotiate because you can tell them, I want to be a 1099 contractor because, you don't even need to tell them that, is it possible for me to continue working here and I can file a 1099 instead of being a W2? Because ultimately growing your wealth is your responsibility. You have to be in the lookout of your self-interest and the self-interest of your family. Educating your kids is the way to go. Schools don't teach this. There is no, literally zero education. Your tax preparer is not responsible for teaching you about the new tax codes. This is the responsibility of a tax strategist, who are absolutely more expensive. But if you're on a higher earning scale, or if you want to just learn, I think it's a really good investment. It's a really good return on investment, even because of all the things your eyes open to, your brain is open to it. And then you can transfer that knowledge to your, spouses, your parents, your dependents. And there are like literally thousands of other things you can do with this taxed money that you save. You can put it in an IRA, you can put it in an investment account, you can put it in stocks, you can put it in real estate, you can invest this money any way you want to grow it. You do not want to give more money to IRS. Okay, I'm out of breath. If you guys have any questions, because I know this is not simple, please let me know. I am gonna wait. I'm already, I guess, 10-15 minutes over time. I'm gonna drink some water, okay? Yes, Saida, you can get this PDF. I will mail it out to you, no problem. Do you guys have any questions or concerns? Anything that you want to know about? I spoke about the minor IRA. It's a different, honestly, it's a different ball game. It's a different story. Um, I'm not gonna cover it, but that's something that you can put your, kids' money into, and it grows tax free. If you guys have no questions, let me see who's here. Farzana, Hina, Marina, Mariam. If you guys have no questions, then I'm going to end the session. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. All right then. Jazakallah khair for attending. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, it's being recorded, Saida. It's being recorded. Assalamu alaikum.